Whew. Okay, Alan Wake 2's first DLC just dropped, and I am so excited to talk about it today. Yeah, that is right, we got Night Springs, a 3-episode trip into the crazy, wacky, mind-bending universe of Night Springs. Now, this DLC was an absolute blast. It may have been a little short, but totally worth the wait, and I want to get through all 3 of the episodes today, so let's just push this all aside and get right into it. Woohoo! Okay, I am super excited for today's video, so let's just rush through this and get right to that first episode. But yes, that is right, Night Springs, the first DLC that we have gotten for Alan Wake 2, and it may have been a long wait for a shorter than expected DLC, but it was fully worth it. So if you somehow don't know yet, Night Springs is a 3-episode DLC, all episodes being about an hour long, and yes, I do know that it was supposed to be 5 episodes, but a couple of episodes involving Casey were sadly discarded after the tragic passing of James McCaffrey. But you can get this DLC by upgrading your game to the Deluxe Edition, and yes, as of now, that is the only way. It's only $20 USD, and it's even on sale on Epic right now. I don't know about consoles, but still, $20 for both DLCs is not that bad. And yeah, you will get the Lake House when it drops, so as I said, 2 DLCs, 20, but not that bad. But enough of all that, the wait is over, so what did we get? As I said, Night Springs, 3 different episodes where you get to play as 3 different characters that we've seen in the Remedyverse. Except there's no Barry Allen. Okay, 0 stars, poo-poo bad, Night Springs, garbage. I'm just kidding. But we had better see Barry and Chester in the Lake House DLC. Enough is enough. I want to get to the first episode of the Twisted Night Springs, the number 1 fan. So, starting with the first on the list, number 1 fan, a very, very interesting playthrough to be honest, and definitely one that I've been seeing and hearing a lot of people asking for. Yes, we finally get to experience one of Rose's fanfictions we find littered throughout Alan Wake 2. So, as this story goes, you don the role of Rose Marigold, the most loved server in the small town of Night Springs, Washington. Then one day, when tending to the average diner rush, a message comes through a singing fish on the wall, and it was Alan, Rose's soulmate, and he needed her to help save him. Rose heads to the Knight's Diner armory, stocked up with guns and ammo for some reason, and heads to save Alan as the city cheers her on. On her mission, she meets Alan's evil twin brother, who's supposed to be Scratch, but he's the twin brother who's also a werewolf, with a werewolf motorcycle? I don't know, but Rose has to fight through the brothers' evil forces as Alan's twin tries to convince Rose that Alan is just not good enough for saving. But come to the end, you save Alan and the two get to finally live happily ever after. And yeah, per usual, there's more in there that I did not include, but you'll just have to play it for yourself. On the side of gameplay and stuff, I'd say that this is probably the most different episode. Right off the bat, the first episode is the most different episode. Instead of dark areas and tight hallways, you get to freely run through the open woods, no jump scares, everything is super bright, all like pink, pretty much like the Barbie movie with guns and blood, a lot of blood. Like playing through number 1 fan, one thing I did notice was so much more blood and gore, like red clouds and splatter hitting the camera, plus with all the unexpected action, it just felt more like a zombie shooter than Alan Wake. It was kind of cool. It got down. But another thing that was pretty different than the base game was the all-around, more upbeat nature of this episode. Like, I know you were demolishing people, but happy techno music, there was bright colors, happy faces, people were smiling, and a lot of humor and funny. There was actually funny scenes.
What do you got?
I have a shotgun.
Well, I got a... Wait, that's a real shotgun? Okay, I admit I didn't expect that. But it doesn't matter.
All in all, though, I actually really enjoyed number 1 fan, mainly because of how different it all was, but also because, come on, fans wanted to see one of Rose's fanfics, and we got it. We also got Uwu Alan, but I don't know what to say about that. And I know there's probably so many people actually upset about this, but they're probably the same people who were upset with We Sing. They just don't understand. But, you know, that is number 1 fan, an awfully weird episode, but it does lead us to the next awfully scary episode on the list, and, you know, it's still weird, it's Sam Lake, what do you expect? But that episode being North Star. So now we move to a slightly scarier episode, which in my opinion is kind of the most forgettable of the 3. I liked it, it wasn't bad, but and I don't know, you'll see for yourselves, but North Star is way closer to just playing the base game involving shadows, conspiracies, and of course, coffee percolation. Percolation is said in this episode like 20 times. I've actually read that it could be because, Finnish folk just think that word is funny, but okay. In North Star, you take control of Jessie Faden. Well, someone who looks exactly like her, but you are in Night Springs at the famous Coffee World attraction. She is there looking for her brother who had been kidnapped by some secret government organization, though I don't know why they'd take him to the Coffee World, who knows, but Jessie breaks in, meets Tim Breaker, and actually learns that a cult had messed with the coffee, causing anyone who drinks it to turn into scary coffee monsters. She works her way through the park's puzzles, having to join the coffee cult until she eventually finds her brother, who actually ends up being Alan in the same container as Dylan in Control. But you will just have to play for yourself to find all the secrets and references, as usual. When it comes to gameplay and such, honestly, other than seeing Jessie Faden, North Star feels pretty similar to base game. That's why I said it's a little bit forgettable in my opinion, and I wouldn't even second guess it being Alan Wake 2, as you would the other 2 episodes. Gameplay-wise, very similar, but there were a few particular things that I did enjoy. So I enjoyed the big jump in vibes from #1 fan to North Star, being super upbeat to super scary. And I also like that we get Sam Lake's wackiness throughout all 3. That weirdness doesn't leave.
Crazier, wilder.
I also liked the return of more horror-based aspects being slightly less action-oriented. Reminding me of older horror games, certain areas solving puzzles without combat. I don't know, you get it. But honestly, as I said, this was a more lackluster episode, but it's still good, don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed it. But North Star is just a little bit outshined by the other 2 episodes, which leads us to the last episode in the Night Springs DLC, and honestly, my favorite, Time Breaker. So being a huge Remedyverse fan and a huge fan of Quantum Break, I was the most excited for this episode, obviously, and let's just say that I was not let down because Time Breaker was easily my favorite of the 3 and it outshined the other 2 episodes. So right off the bat, I'll just get into the banger of the story and get to everything afterwards. As I might take a little bit longer with this one. But you take the role of Sean Ashmore, the actual real-life actor of Tim Breaker and Jack Joyce. But Sean is cast as a role in the upcoming game being directed and written by Sam Lake. Who knew things could get even more meta? But this game is about Sean's character being a multiverse traverser, trying to stop the evil Mr. Door as Door is hunting down and eliminating the different versions of Sean. But soon enough, the Master of Many Worlds is able to pull Sean into the game, bringing it all to reality. Sean has to make his way through the differing and weird multiverses, using pretty much ripples from Quantum Break. It's like a ripple mixed with what Alan does with his flashlight, I don't know. Eventually though, Sean finds that red-haired girl he always dreams about, who explains the Ripple Effect Corporation, which is pretty much the FIB, but the REC is trying to stop Door from pretty much corrupting the entirety of the multiverses. And there's a good chance that Sean was the chosen one of the Time Breakers to stop it all. And by the end, you are on the doorstep of the Master of Many Worlds. Well, after jumping through the Luma Vista TV, Sean is met with a text-based encounter in the dark. It explains the experience where Sean pretty much restarted the multiverses, creating the REC himself, carving the HQ out of a petrified oak tree where a city was built around it. Hey, this sounds familiar. But it continues to explain that a version of Jessie showed up with a weapon that could change form, and he made her the director of the REC. Sound familiar? Yeah, the REC is just the FIB. By the end of the encounter though, you lay eyes on the Master of Many Worlds, only to find out it is not Door. Instead, well, with the ending of Final Draft you can probably guess, yeah, Alan is the Master of Many Worlds. And boom, Time Breaker ends. But that is just the story that ends. I have a whole lot more to say about this DLC. So first, I will start with the ending memoriam for James McCaffrey, along with the Alex Casey quote at the end, which, if I am not mistaken, would have probably been something in at least the Casey episode. But I just loved seeing it. I hate that we lost such an awesome character. We lost multiple awesome characters, and it sucks that we missed out on 2 episodes. But all in all, it was great to see it, and we can't blame James McCaffrey for losing those episodes. So the next thing, well, pretty much the rest on the list for Time Breakers have to do with Quantum Break references and how excited they all got me. Okay, but first there's one more funny reference that we can see. Sam Lake tells Sean that he'd played superheroes before, which is 100% a reference to Sean's Iceman days in the X-Men movies.
You've done cool superhero roles in the past.
But I also think it's probably a reference to his recent role as Lamplighter in The Boys, which my fiance and I recently finished, so not only seeing the actor was a little bit ironic, but that quote just got me laughing. But now, onto the actual Quantum Break references, well, there's just a ton. Things like the word ripple being used a lot. The occurrences are called ripples, like Quantum Break's time ripples. And if the REC is supposed to kind of be like the FEB, then I'd assume that ripples are AWEs and vice versa, which affected areas called bleed zones, which are similar to both ripples and AWEs. I know that got confusing, but then there is the fact that Sean has a connection to Jessie, as she is his love in Quantum Break, and he's searching for her in Time Breakers. There's even a full-on quote from Quantum Break where Sean is about to leave and he tells her that he's gonna be back for her, but she actually cuts him off finishing his sentence, and that's what Jack Joyce tells her right when he leaves in Quantum Break. But I guess off of Quantum Break now, and some more crazy stuff going on with Time Breakers. First off, I do want to preface, I don't know if the DLC is canon or not. It could just be another experience written by Wake in the Dark Place, so keep that in mind. But these multiverses we see in Time Breakers are explained to be the reason behind everything. All the characters and locations that we've seen, like Night Springs and Bright Falls, like Jack and his many faces, Dora and Hatch, Alan, Scratch, and Zane. Even the Dark Place and the AWEs are all just results of the multiverse and what Dor had caused. Oh, yeah, you'll also just have to learn what's up with Dor, because there's a lot of backstory of who Dor is, what he did, what he started, but you'll have to find out exactly what that is yourselves. I will say, Dor is pretty much immortal though. Dor will be around for a while. Dor has been around for a while. Off of Dor though, next up, we can see a new whiteboard actually. If you remember in Alan Wake 2, there was that whiteboard that Tim had with a bunch of stuff on it. Well, you can find a new whiteboard in this DLC mentioning Dylan, the red-haired woman, even saying that Casper's book caused everything. That being the very interesting book about the many worlds, the book that can be found in Dor's dressing room, but it's about the many worlds. Alan is the master of many worlds. I think you get what's going on. We need a universe where Casper is Alan. Because he is Alan. Okay, but I wonder what Casper has to do with all of this. And is the FIB connected to Dor in some way, or are they hunting him down? Who knows? Okay. I don't know how I missed this one, but another Quantum Break reference is all of the polyhedrons and shapes similar to the countermeasure. Like the PRS, or whatever you call it, the shape you suck up with your device, that is the same thing as a countermeasure. And the shapes change all dependent on whatever multiverse Sean is in. But yeah, there's that. Lastly though, just a funny thing you can find, so there's a spiral drawn on a piece of paper with an arrow and a "you are here," like you would find on a map. Now, I'm just thinking, yeah, this is probably a spiral joke with the whole, it's not a loop, it's a spiral. But what I'm also thinking is, Final Draft could have not been the end. And the arrow pointing halfway through is showing us that we are only halfway through the spiral ourselves. I don't know. As I said, who knows? We'll just have to wait to see. That, though, was Time Breaker. An absolutely awesome last episode to the Night Springs DLC. And with that, that was the Night Springs DLC. But with the end of Time Breakers and the end of Night Springs, now I just want to talk about some separate little connections, Easter eggs, final thoughts, everything to wrap up this video. So first, I just want to reiterate something that I brought up before, and that is that we don't actually know whether or not any of this is canon, or if everything we've seen in the DLC is written by Alan or whatever. Because this could all be what's happening in the other multiverses. It could just be like American Nightmare, where it's stories being written by Alan in the Dark Place. I mean, the episodes are written by Alan, hosted by Dor. It says that at the beginning of every episode, so who knows? Another thing I did kind of think is this what other people are experiencing? Rose thinks she saves Alan. Rose kind of acts crazy the whole game, so is this how Rose sees what's going on? And Tim Breaker talks about how he got pulled in by Door, and he knows about all the other versions of himself. He knows that there's stuff like that. It's just not all clear to him. So is this finally being clarified to him? Is this stuff happening to Tim happening in the dark place, and it's all just like a, I don't know. Could it all just be what they're saying while Alan is doing his own thing? Could it be canon, or could it just be a story written by Alan? I don't know, but I just think this is another one of those things that we will have to wait and see more about with the Lake House or with Control 2. Really though, I just thought all of the different Remedyverse references, Easter eggs, connections were either great additions to see, or answers to questions we all know we had. From the Uwu Alan to the Spiral map, I loved this DLC, and I think it's totally worth the $20 upgrade. And yes, I do know it was a little short, only about 3 hours, but you know, when you think about it, the Lake House will make that $20 price worth it. And hey, as I said, are you gonna blame them for James' tragic passing? Like, come on, this is one of those things that you kind of have to be okay with. But I think the Night Springs DLC was fantastic. I could just keep going on about it, on and on and on. You all know how much I loved Alan Wake 2, so this is just an addition to that great, amazing game, but I think it is about time that we just close things off there. But I still want to hear all of your thoughts on the new Night Springs DLC along with this video in the comments now. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, slap that like, and why not subscribe to stay up to date on everything to come. If you really enjoyed this video and you want to support more like it, get videos early, and get your name at the end of future vids, there's just like no memberships yet, so no name. Be the first name! Lastly though, if you enjoyed any music that you've heard, check out Billy the Whip on any music platform to bob your head to the rest of my home-cooked jams. It might not be the best, but hey, it's me. What can I say? And with this here, I thank you all immensely for all the support. I cannot wait for next time, and I wish you all the best day ever.
Chasing the murder cult made me feel like I was caught in a loop. Every time I thought I was getting closer, things shifted around, and I realized I was further away than ever before. Instead of answers, I only got more questions. The name of the cult and the masks they wore kept changing. The deeper into the dark depths I got, peeling off the layers of this case, like the ocean zones from twilight to midnight to abyssal to the deepest trenches, the closer I felt to going mad.
Billy the boogeyman coming for you. Look out for the pigs, look out for me too. Been chewing them up, spitting the new, spitting the bones, pushing the noose, squeezing the game. Been making that juice, no need for the pulp. I'm spitting that too, rip it through. Anyone